Well, morning. Glad you looked in on me. It's been a quiet week out here. Most of 'em are at my age, and, well, I've come to like it that way. We finally caught a little rain on Tuesday, first in near a month, so the whole place smells like wet ground, and I've been in a better humor for it. This knee of mine's been aching ever since, which is its own kind of weatherman. Never charged me a dime in 30 years, and it's righter than that slick fella on the television. So I expect there's more weather coming. Anyhow, I've been up since before light, just sitting with my coffee and my thoughts, and I got to turning over the lowest I ever got in this life. Flat, rock bottom, and the one thing that reached down and caught me. Because I'll tell you honest, I very nearly didn't get caught. And what I found down there is the thing I most want to hand you this morning, in case you're ever headed that same direction. And if you live long enough, you will be. Let me tell you how far down it goes, and I'll tell it to you straight. This was a good many years back now. We caught a drought, the kind that just will not break. 2 summers running, no rain worth the name. The grass burned down to nothing, the stock pods gone to cracked mud you could walk across. And you cannot feed your way through a drought forever. The hay comes to cost more than the cattle are worth. So I did the one thing every cattleman prays to God he'll never have to. I loaded up my herd. Cattle I'd spent the better part of 30 years breeding, bloodlines my own daddy started before me. And I hauled 'em to the sale barn and watched 'em go for pennies on the dollar. Sat there on that hard bench while the auctioneer gave away my life's work by the pound, in a room full of buyers and other cattlemen who all knew exactly why my herd was on the block that day. And not a one of 'em could look me in the eye. And that wasn't even the bottom yet. The bottom was the note down at the bank. I'd borrowed against the land to try and ride the dry years out, land my grandad broke with a team of mules, land that carried our name the better part of 100 years. And when the cattle money came to nothing, I couldn't make the payment. I sat across the desk from a polite young fella half my age in a necktie, and I watched him do the arithmetic that meant the place wasn't going to be mine a whole lot longer. I remember walking out into the middle of that dry, dead pasture afterward, and not being able to feel my own 2 hands. Deep shock, they'd call it. A grown man with gray in his beard had everything I thought I was. The rancher. The fella whose handshake meant something. The man who'd never missed a payment in his life. All of it. Gone with the grass. But here's the thing nobody tells you about the bottom. It is not the falling that finishes you. It's what you reach for once you land. And I knew exactly what I'd reach for. Because I'd been down before, just never this far. I had my habits, and I knew 'em cold. Every time life had knocked me flat, I handled it the same way. I ran. To the bottle, mostly. I'd take a bottle out to that barn and not come back to the house till I couldn't feel a thing. And I let a good woman lie awake in her bed, wondering whether her husband was coming back to her or not. I quit going into town, too. Couldn't stand it. The "how you holding up, Hank?" with all that pity sitting behind it. I burned down what little was left of me, just to get numb for one more night. And every single time I come out the far side worse than I went in. Because I never once let the bottom say a word to me. I just drowned it out, and call that surviving. It wasn't surviving. It was dying slow, with a bottle in my hand. So there I was, lower than I'd ever been, and I felt that old pull start up in me, like a tide. Let me tell you how the bottom works, because you'll need to know this. When you get down there, all the way down, you are not alone. Every old ghost you thought you'd buried shows up, and they don't come quiet. They come singing, like a choir of the worst voices you own. The bottle singing sweet as you please. The self-pity, and Lord, that one sounds so much like comfort you can hardly tell it's poison. And the low one, up under all of them, the one that just says, quit, lay down, it's over. Who'd even miss you? I'll tell you the truth as plain as I can. It was like the devil himself pulled a chair up right in front of my face, close enough to touch, and just sat there, grinning, waiting on me to reach for the old poison like I always had. And 30 years younger, I'd have reached. But something in me that morning, and it was not my own strength, I promise you that. Something said the only words that ever saved my life. I am not engaging. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to wrestle it. I'm just not going to reach for it. I'm going to reach for something else. And here's the part I can't hand you with figures. I can only tell you it happened to me. For the first time in my whole hard-headed life, instead of running out into the dark, I got still. I got down on my knees on that cold plank floor. A grown man, wrecked, nothing left. And I reached for the Lord. And not because I'd gotten it all figured out, just the opposite. Because I had finally run clean out of my own strength, and there was not one other thing left in that room to hold on to. Now folks say, hit rock bottom and there's nothing underneath you. I'm here to tell you that is a lie. I hit the bottom of everything I'd built with these two hands, and I found there was a floor under that floor. Solid. And it had been there the whole entire time, just waiting on me to fall far enough to finally feel it hold. And I'll tell you what I did the very next morning. And this is the part that still gets me. The old me, after a fall like that, I'd have been down at the bar by noon, licking my wounds in the dark where nobody could see. Instead, I got up, and I went and sat in a quiet little church with the morning light coming through the glass. And I just let it hold me. Sanctuary. I'd heard that word my whole life and never once known what it meant. That morning, I knew. And I found a few words, and I said 'em over myself, out loud, till the day I finally believed 'em. That I was more than a conqueror. Now understand, I hadn't conquered a blessed thing. I was flat beaten, down in the dirt. But the words weren't about what I'd won. They were about there being something a great deal bigger than my beating. Something that had already gone on ahead of me into it and was standing there in the wreckage, waiting when I showed up. Now a man with something solid under him looks at a ruin different than a man with nothing. The old me stood out in that dead pasture and saw the end of everything. This time, same dry ground, same beaten man, I stood in it, and I thought, this is not the grave. This is just the dirt I get to grow the next thing out of. So I decided, right there in the dust of it, 3 things. And I said 'em out loud, like a promise a man makes and can't take back. I will overcome this. I will not be deterred. I will rise. And I'll be honest with you. I said all 3 a long, long while before one of them was true. That's how it works. You declare it into the dark, and then you go do the one small next thing. And then the next one after that. And one ordinary morning, you look up, and you're standing again, on ground that doesn't wash out from under you this time. So here's the whole reason I got to talking this morning. That season, very near, killed me. And I would not hand it back for anything I own today. Because every good thing I've got now, the peace in me, a marriage that finally healed, a faith I'd have called foolishness at 40, every last bit of it grew up out of that one piece of hard ground. I had to lose the thing I was standing on before I ever found the thing that actually holds. That's what the title of this one means, and I mean it with my whole chest. It took hitting the very bottom before it ever once occurred to me to look up. And the morning I finally did, he was already there. Had been the whole time. I was just always looking the wrong direction, out toward the dark, hunting the next thing to numb it with. So if you're down there right now, in the dark, with those chairs pulling up around you, and that choir starting in, hear an old man who's been on that exact floor. Don't engage him. Don't reach for the poison. Just get still and look up. There is a floor under the floor, friend. It has held better men than me, and it will hold you. Down in the comments, you don't have to tell me the whole story. That's yours to keep. Just tell me you're still standing, or that you're trying to. Somebody's going to scroll by tonight, sitting on that same cold floor, and it'll help 'em more than you know to hear that a man got back up. You take care of yourself now, and go easy. I'll see you next time.